Hey guys, it's Avery again. So this week we're going to talk about something super important for when you're trying to build an online business, and that is the idea of finding the time to do it in, because we all struggle. We're so busy. We have so much stuff to do, whether it's because you're in school or because you have little kids that you're at home with, or maybe you're a working parent and you're trying to juggle being a parent with work and all the other responsibilities you have. Maybe you're retired and you've just got a lot going on in retirement. Who knows? We all, no matter what our life is, what stage of life we're at, right? It's so easy to be really, really busy. But what I'd like to challenge you to do this week is to banish the words "I don't have time" from my vocabulary, because this is how I look at it. Here's why, before you think I'm nuts to tell you to banish those words, before you say, yeah, but Avery, I really am busy, I really don't have time. Consider this. What if you reframe it this way, that the time you spend doing various activities, whatever they may be, it's time you choose to set aside for those activities. So if you, rather than say you don't have time, you're look at it this way, you're choosing not to set aside time to do that thing. Because for most of us, I get that there are exceptions to every rule, there totally are, but for most of us, if we're really, really honest with ourselves about what we're doing with our time and that kind of thing, for most of us, we actually do have time. And if we don't, it's because we're choosing not to make time for it. So I'm going to share with you a quick story about time and making time. And this is going to be extreme, but my hope is not to make you feel sorry for me or any of that kind of stuff, but just to illustrate the point that even if it seems like the odds are stacked against you or whatever, making time for something, as little as that amount of time may be, it can still pay off in a big way later on. So years ago, I've had eye problems for years. I have really freakishly weird eye problems. But anyways, these eye troubles were so bad years ago that I literally could not stand to stare at a computer screen for longer than maybe 15 minutes. And even then, it frickin' hurt my eyes. I'd seen all kinds of doctors and whatever. Nobody could fix me. So anyways, I wanted to learn how to earn an online income. And I figured, well, you know what, even if it's only 15 minutes a day, I'm going to figure this out. So what I did was I would literally watch these training videos online, and I'd be looking at them like this, just through my eyelashes, and I mean, how weird, right? But I was just really determined to figure this out. I wanted to have this online income that would give me more freedom in my life. And so, point is, back then, 15 minutes a day, it really wasn't very much, but psychologically it was a big deal, because I knew that I was moving my business forward, which is better than sitting there and doing nothing and just, throwing your hands in the air and saying, oh, I have no time, this sucks, I can't do anything, I'll never get anywhere, look, I haven't done anything in weeks, right? That's not gonna get you anywhere. You know it, I know it, so you've got to resist that. So I encourage you, do not let yourself say, I don't have time. You have to choose to make the time. And even if it is only truly, in your heart of hearts that you honestly don't have more than 15 minutes a day, so be it. It's better than nothing. But at least make the effort of setting aside that time. Now that's an extreme example, but for most of us, we have more flexibility than that. When my kids were really little and they're babies, I used to nerd out on the computer trying to figure out what kind of online business idea would work for me when they were napping. Now obviously this wasn't the newborn stage when I was like a walking zombie, but when they got a little bit of a better sleep schedule, and I was able to concentrate and focus better when they were napping, I literally would nerd out on the computer. Now what did that mean? Of course that meant I didn't have a house that looked like a show home. I didn't have a house that was spotless and company ready at every hour of the day. Something had to go. So my choice was either to say, I don't have time to work on an online business, but I'm going to have a perfect house. I'm going to have a spotless house, and that's going to be my trade-off. Or my choice was to say, okay, well, something's got to go. What's most important? Well, I'll make sure the house is sanitary. I'm not going to, live in a pigsty, right? That's not good. But at the same time, there's a difference between adequately clean and spotless. So in my case, my choice was I would have time to make my house adequate, but I was not going to make it company ready like a show home every minute. And by making that choice, it gave me time to work on an online business. There's always ways to carve out time. If you do your best work in the morning, consider going to bed earlier at night, cutting back any TV time you have in the evening or social media time you have in the evening where you're surfing Facebook or whatever your medium of choice is. Cut back on that a bit so you can get up an hour earlier every day and spend some time working on your freelance SEO writing business or whatever else you choose to work on before the household wakes up. Maybe you are a night owl and you do your best work after everyone's gone to bed at night. So maybe you spend a couple hours unwinding before bed. Maybe spend 1 hour unwinding instead. and spend an extra hour that way every day on working towards your online business. I know it's going to seem busy and it's hard to give up that unwinding time because we really feel like we need it, right? We're stressed, we're busy, and we feel like we deserve some time to ourselves just to chill out, right? But the thing is, if your schedule is really jam-packed and you take too much time for chilling out just to unwind at the end of the day, then you're not working on your business and you're not going to move it forward. Another thing you can do that works for a lot of people, if you're at work all day, most of us get a lunch break, right? So use your lunch break, again, to take notes for what you're going to do on your website, to take notes about what kind of copy you want to write, like what kind of content you want to put on your writing services website. Make little notes and write down ideas for what you're going to say on your Upwork profile. You can do that on your lunch break while you're munching on a sandwich. You can do that on your coffee breaks, sip on a coffee and work on your business at the same time. So there are ways to carve out time. If you take public transportation to get to and from work, well, that's awesome then, because if you spend like half an hour on the subway or on the bus or an hour or whatever it is, that's time you can be taking notes and brainstorming ideas that are going to help you to do things more quickly once you're back in front of your computer again. So I challenge you to do that. Try to come up with times that you can carve out throughout your day. Try to carve away at the stuff that's less important to you to make room for the things that are important to you. And if building an online business is important to you, you've got to take the time and effort to carve out that time in your day to make room for it. And keep in mind, at the beginning it's kind of a thankless job because it's not like you set up a profile and poof, within a day you've got like a flood of clients begging for your business. You got to take the time to build it up, but it's worth carving the time because you're making progress. You're doing things to build a business for yourself that you wouldn't have if you didn't take this time. So make time. Banish the words "I don't have time" for your vocabulary. Most of you, and I bet you're one of those people, most people, if you look really hard at your schedule and you look really hard at your life, in your hour by hour, what you're doing every day, you can probably carve out some time, right? So do that. Don't make excuses. Just make it happen. Okay, so that's it for this week. If you guys have any other questions that you want me to answer in a weekly Q&A, please make sure you either comment on this video with your ideas for questions, or you could use the contact form on my website, averybreyer.com, and send me a question that way that I could consider for a future Q&A. And finally, if you found this video because you're on my email list, hit the reply button to the email that had the link to this video in it and send me your Q&A question that way. So I hope to hear from you guys. Carve out some time for your business this week. And at the same time, as much as I say, banish the words "I don't have time" from your vocabulary, at the same time, be good to yourself. Don't judge yourself like too harshly if you're having a rough week and you really are swamped, okay? If you really are swamped, so be it. But, yeah, carve out the time when you can. Just don't be hard on yourself when you honestly can't, okay? The point is to be positive and move forward and focus on the good, okay? So I'll see you guys next week. Bye.